everything is looking more beautiful than ever, which means August farm tour! I'm standing in the middle of our flower farm, which has gotten pretty crazy at this point. Ian keeps making fun of me because it's very difficult to get to where I'm standing. The flowers are producing a ton, and so we started to have lots to pick to bring to the market. We have more here than we can sell, and we've had some pretty good success at the market. I usually try to bring about 30 or 40 bouquets, and we've been selling about half of them, as well as selling a few from the house. So far I've been pretty happy with how well the flowers have done. They make our farm display look amazing. The one issue is it takes a long time to pick these. It takes a long time to maintain these, and it takes a long time for me to make bouquets. So I still got some learning before I can say that it is highly profitable, but it's definitely beautiful.
Show off the potatoes.
Okay. Ready, guys? Okay. Oh, look, Leah.
There's a big one down there.
Sorry, Mommy.
Prize winner.
Prize winner.
Look at all these guys. 'Tis the season. You got a big one?
Yes. More lies.
Scratching.
This one.
With your little nails.
This one's real.
Oh, you did it! My favorite out of all of the flowers we have planted on the property?
Yeah.
Then probably the dahlias. Here, let's go show that.
See? What's for dinner tonight?
A protein.
Poutine.
Our battery just ran out, so for the last half hour we've been harvesting potatoes. Pretty good harvest. And look who decided to show up.
I think I left off on saying I was going to show my favorite flower, and these are my big dinner plate dahlias. I love these. They are so cool. Look at this.
Today I was weeding this area. There's a bunch of raspberry canes that have been overgrown, so they weren't doing very well. They haven't got much water. We don't want all this effort that we put into this area to go to waste, so we've been putting some time into cleaning all that up, and it looks great.
Half of the strawberries that we have planted on the property are ever-bearing varieties, which means that they produce all season, and so we got lots again. They kind of slowed down for a little bit just before they bounce back, but they're so good. The kids are in here all the time, and there's still lots. This is our greenhouse experiment. This greenhouse gets to be over 50. We don't actually know how hot it gets in here because it just maxes out on really hot days. So far, stuff has been somewhat surviving, and things like cucamelons, which you can kind of see are growing right here, are actually doing pretty good in here. You know, there's a chance that my loofahs might even flower in here, though we don't have enough hot days to get loofah fruit, but maybe next year. You can see some stuff is like not surviving. Things have also been having a hard time because it's so hot in here, it's hard to water without killing things. Some of these plants actually got murdered from watering when it was still too hot, and then it just crisped up, sunburned all the leaves completely. But yeah, so far not a success, but not a failure, which is pretty good. This is the family garden section, and it's been getting pretty neglected this year. We've been so busy with the farm. The plan was to have this space where we could grow things we didn't necessarily want to grow on the farm, have some stuff close to the house so I could run out and pick it. You can see here I have a whole row of ground cherries, and you know, these are actually producing stuff, and I've been getting to eat them because as soon as my kids figure out what these are, I'm never gonna get any, but I have yet to show them. So under all these plants, I got lots of these ground cherries, which are super tasty, kind of fun little tropical tasting fruits.
To me, they taste like vomit.
You know that thing. Got some zucchini, so if I need a zucchini for a recipe, I can run out and pick it. And as you can see, I do not need to do that because I'm drowning in zucchini from the farm. But look at this one. This one's kind of funky. The two fruits have fused together into one. It's kind of neat to see that. And then the thing that I'm the most excited about, because I always fail at this, is all my brassicas. And look at this! Look at this like full-size head of cabbage that I have here. And all my varieties have actually produced something. This is like a flat kind of cabbage, so it's not as massive as it looks, but this is, you know, this is full size. I've never grown a cabbage like this, and we actually had some success with our broccoli and our cauliflower, and come and check this out.
Stay back, Strawberry Monster. Ah!
These are Romanesco cauliflower, and look at these. They're like these crazy fractal things. They're a little small for what they should be, but you know, super fun to have.
Good work, Serina.
This is where we had a whole field of walking onions, and now there's nothing. But it's because all the walking onions, they went to seed. They get kind of these big stems, and they come up and they have the little bulbils on the top. And so we picked all the seeds off and just mowed this section because it was getting overgrown with weeds. But you know, once the weather cools down a bit, kind of in the next month, they'll all start to push green onions, and we'll have lots of green onions to eat out of here, and lots of seed for next year.
I like these purple flowers. They remind me of like a Muppet.
Yeah,
like a Muppet character.
They're called liatris.
Liatris.
These are like a bulb that I planted, and they're a perennial that will come back every year.
Do you have to dig them up?
Nope.
My favorite kind.
I know. Only dahlias get that preferential treatment. You know, the glads, they need to get dug up here to survive, and we'll see.
They might not.
They might not. But yeah, this whole strip actually is perennial stuff. And the rest of the flower farm here, it's been doing pretty good. I'm happy with it. At the bottom of this row is baby's breath, and I kind of have one pick left on it, and then it's completely done. But for like a white filler, I have this, I don't know the common name, but Amy. It's starting to come. And so things, you know, the things have had a good succession to it. You know, the cosmos and the zinnias, they're gonna go all season. They're gonna be here until the frost. And it looks like all my filler is gonna work out pretty good. We filmed this entire video yesterday and then went to edit it and found out that we didn't have our mic turned on. But the one perk is now I can show you this, because this is what we did yesterday. And this is all of my fall winter garden kale and Swiss chard that I had seedlings for, and I planted them in here. So I still got another bed of seedlings to start. I have 3 full beds of kales that actually survive the freezing temperatures here. Winter boar, and the other variety that I've recently discovered and really like is called Improved Siberian. And so I'm gonna fill it in here, and this should be a crazy amount of food. More kale than I want, so hopefully it'll sell.
This is where we have a lot of our tomatoes and our eggplants and our peppers. It took us a little bit of time to get this caterpillar tunnel in the ground, this area cleared out and prepped and stuff. So these plants got in the ground a few weeks late, so they are behind. But, you know, such is life. We're not really letting it bother us. We're just getting what we get this year, and we're taking what we can take to the market, and that is what it is, right? Next year we'll be better on schedule, but for now we're pretty happy with how this is going. Check out these crazy clusters. I know we've showed them before. This is the Berry's Crazy Cherry. Crazy. My favorite tomato this year though is the Sun Gold. the little orange cherry tomatoes. I don't know if we've grown them before, but I don't specifically remember tasting them. And once I did, I was in love. They're so good. They're like the perfect tomato flavor. Other ones that I recommend if you are like in a city and you need something in a pot, we were growing these ones called Totem, and they are super good flavored. They're about that big, and they're specifically designed to grow in a pot. And yeah, one of the tastiest tomatoes that we've grown. So, Totem.
We have 46 varieties of tomatoes that we started this year for our seedling sales, and I wanted to try them all, so I made sure to get, you know, at least 2 of everything into this greenhouse. And these are some of the Wild Boar Farm tomatoes that we have in here, and they look, this whole greenhouse just looks amazing because of all these cool striped and different colors. We have striped in every single color. We have pink stripe, we have yellow stripe, we have orange stripe, we have red stripe, we have purple stripes. This, you know.
It makes it hard to know what's right.
Well, I know. Wild Boar Farm tomatoes.
This is our cherry tomato greenhouse. We were growing these thinking that this would be, you know, the majority of the tomato sales at the market. We've only had them for one market so far, and they were kind of a meh seller. Problem is here, we got to the market a little late with tomatoes. Everybody's already got tomatoes. There's a lot of competition. You're also competing with everybody's like homegrown tomatoes, because in Kelowna, everybody puts a tomato plant in their yard if they can, right? If they have a garden, then there's going to be some tomatoes in there because we have the perfect climate for it. So they haven't been as good a seller as we want, but you know, I'm eating tomatoes all day. Even though the tomatoes haven't been selling all that well, we've still been finding a lot of success with the carrots and the greens. People really like the Salanova lettuce that we've been growing. Can't brag about that enough. And people love the carrots too, because we've been picking them, you know, on the smaller side, so they're just perfect for munching on. And you know, unless you're growing them yourself, by the time you buy them at a store, they're just not going to taste like, you know, they've been freshly picked. And ours are literally coming out of the ground within 2 or 3 hours of us going to the market. So they've been selling a lot. They've been driving our sales, and
5 hours.
we've been doing so well at the market that we've added another market. This upcoming weekend is going to be our first time with 2 markets. So we're a little bit nervous because that's a lot of workload, but we aren't going to stress about it too much. Like I said, we're just going to take what we take and sell what we sell. I think we'll do really well at this other market though. It's going to be a bit of a different customer base. It's more in the core of the city, so we're hoping that the bouquets sell really well because you know, they're if we can sell a lot of flowers, that's one of our most profitable things. And I think the carrots will still do well, and the lettuce will still do well. But maybe the tomatoes will do a little better there because there won't be as many people. You know, we're preaching to the converted here. Everybody already has their tomatoes down there. Maybe they don't have enough space for the plants in the ground, so they need to buy tomatoes. And we're going to be one of the only veggie vendors at this particular market. It's only been there for a couple years. They shut down one of the streets in Kelowna, and
We're playing a baby game.
We're really happy with how good everything's looking right now. This last weekend we hosted a party, a barbecue for the local garden club that I had joined, and so all the gardeners were coming, the people who would spot the weeds in the mess. So we put a lot of effort into cleaning everything up, and you know, it feels good. Feels like everything's like looking like even the farm, we did a weed down here, and so I'm very happy with it. We've been having lots of success on the carrots, as Ian said. One thing that makes me nervous about how much success we're having, because I'm pulling, you know, like hundreds of carrots every market. I'm pulling like 600, 700 carrots, and I've been doing that for 5 weeks now, and this is how much I've sold. Like, I haven't even emptied a bed. Today I had a woman who came and we did our first bulk sale. She bought 20 pounds of baby carrots, and I have like another 20 pounds of bigger carrots, and I still haven't been able to empty this bed. And I have 6 beds of carrots planted, so we got lots of carrots.
Carrots are covered.
Yeah. That's the one thing, like, we've actually been having a lot of success. We had some issues in the spring of pests that cause crop losses, but as we've kind of gone into the summer and we eliminated all the things that were susceptible to cabbage maggot, which is what was getting into our stuff, just everything has been doing well. And so because of that, we're at the point that we have more than we know what to do with. Yesterday morning, Ian got sent off with all of our leftovers from the market. He had 4 big boxes to bring down to the food bank, and I think that's gonna have to start to be part of our regular cycle. It's like at least once a week we're gonna have to round up everything that we have kicking around. Just we can't keep up. We can't eat through our leftovers.
I'm only one man.
This is our lettuce bed, as Ian was saying. It's been doing really good. We've been having some issues with the heat on it. Obviously, lettuce doesn't like the heat. But the successions that I have, every 2 weeks I plant new trays. I do have 8 of these, and then there's stuff that needs to get taken out and new transplants, and we've done really good. There hasn't been any lags. There hasn't been any weeks that we haven't been to the market with at least 20 bags of salad mix and a handful of heads. So the goal was to be really good and really consistent on lettuce and carrots. That was like the 2 things that I really wanted to focus down on, and I feel like I've done well with that. We also, even our kale has really surprised me. We normally have pest issues, like they get covered in aphids, and there's been the occasional cabbage moth caterpillar in there, but nothing that has made me have to rip out and lose entire crops. The summer squash, all the zucchinis, they're still doing great, and I have a second succession that is flowering today. So, there's not going to be a lag in that too until the poor weather.
How we deal with pest issues?
Yeah, so if we have pest issues, because this is a question that I get asked all the time at the market, on Instagram, like you guys, when you can contact me, we don't do anything. We if something's buggy, we get rid of it. I know that there's organic sprays that you can use, but I'd rather not. We're hoping to get a mesh, like a netting that you can put over top of cabbage crops, kind of like the salad turnips, or the kale or arugula, things that can get really damaged. We tried turnips and they were all full of maggots, but if they were under this netting, then it wouldn't have to be like that. But yeah, when it comes for what to do with pests, I do nothing. We definitely have pests in here. We have bugs, we have bad bugs. I lost some of my lettuce. There's like crazy, we have a plague of locusts that all the grasshoppers are in here, and they eat out the cores of my lettuce, but we have enough that things can get sacrificed. And the one thing that I'm really excited about is in the last 2 weeks, I've started to see dragonflies, and they're like big, full-size adult dragonflies that we have, and they're there because they're eating the pests. You need to get the beneficials. You need the bad bugs to get the beneficial bugs that eat the bad bugs in, and hopefully in the future, as we build back up this property from, just the field surrounded by, the non-organic orchards where there's no bugs, there's no birds, there's no nothing. As we build that habitat back up, it'll hopefully everything will level out, and then, there won't ever be so many pests that it decimates an entire crop. It'll all kind of stay sort of balanced. He's like, put me down. You're not like Mew. You don't like that? Okay.
He's a wildcat.
He's a wildcat.
Lots of food has been coming out of the farm, and with only the single market, Serina was like, we need another way to sell it. And so we were gonna put a farm stand on the road, but the city said not until you have farm status. So we converted our carport into a nice little area to sell produce out of. We did some blackboard paint with some old frames that were in the outbuilding, and I think it turned out really nice. This is gonna be our little messaging center, because one of our dreams about doing all this is being able to communicate with the people who come here to buy stuff. So this one isn't so much for pricing or what's available. It's more about talking to the community, what we want to say. We want to kind of organize events and stuff. We've got a couple more of them too. They're just out on the road right now. We got some merchandising tray stuff. Things aren't really stocked right now. Serina's gonna put some ads together on Facebook next week and start trying to bring some traffic in. We haven't really been advertising it yet, so we're not really stocking it either. And then since we're outside in the carport, we are able to have power, which is a little better than out at the road. So we've got a fridge, and we can merchandise stuff in here as well, which is really convenient because just another space to put all of this produce that we're collecting. And when we get back from the market, everything just goes in there, gets all organized. Or say somebody calls up and says, I want a veggie box, then Serina can put it together and then kind of put some of the stuff in the fridge, and it's right there waiting for people when they get here. So we're really excited about all of this. We think we're gonna do fairly well with it, even if we only sell 50 bucks a day or something. That's adds up, and we don't really have to do much but put stuff out here and people will come.
Build it and they will come.
Yep, if you build it, they will come. Beaches!
Our house has a little bit of a creepy mansion vibe from the road, and it's been pretty hard to get people to turn down the driveway or stop. So Ian did a lot of work. He painted up the fence white, which has totally changed the front. It really pops now. And then I painted on our logo here, make it nice and obvious, and I'm pretty happy with how it looks. I also painted a second logo on here to try to get as many people as possible to see where the driveway is. So our hope is that this can coerce people down to the farm stand.
Yes.
Once they know it's there.
So this area, although it's not new, it was only very recently looking good. For that party that Serina was talking about earlier, we decided to pull out all the weeds in here because we wanted people to, be impressed as soon as they came into the parking lot area that's just over there. And that was a lot of work to weed it all. And then we had this mulch from last year, so we spread the mulch, we did the cardboard underneath thing, and now it actually looks really nice. So it's crazy how different it is here because we took out some of the trees that had failed, and so you come in and you stand here and it's just kind of like a big open line of sight all the way over to the greenhouse and all the way over to that side. It looks really nice, and especially up close to the house, it just tidies everything up, and everybody was very impressed. We worked really hard to clean up for that party. We worked so hard that we even partially cleaned our outbuilding, which is a monumental task. There's so much stuff in here. And we didn't really do a lot of video stuff in here because it was just packed. A lot of it garbage, a lot of it stuff. There is still a lot of it here. It's kind of been sorted through, but it's looking way better in here now. Way more functional. We're actually able to hang out in here, and we got this table, so now this is kind of like a kitchen and a good little like prep space for the market. We cleaned out the spare bedroom that isn't a bedroom yet, but this room was absolutely packed with stuff, and there still is a fair amount in there, but way less. And we put this air conditioner in the window, and so it's way colder in here. We're using this to store the flowers, like before the market, and tomatoes and stuff, and also misbehaving children get locked in here. over here is the garage, the shop area, and a lot of stuff came into this area to get sorted through. And even still, it's kind of maintained its same level of functionality. So, you know, I'm pretty happy with all of this because I didn't think we were going to get to this until the fall. So, we've been having so much positive feedback from the markets and the community that, you know, we decided that we were going to kind of put all of our eggs in the basket of, you know, marketing and doing markets and trying to build up that customer base. So we still don't have this walk-in cooler that's been on the to-do list. We just haven't had time. And we still don't have this wash station that's had 6 posts in the ground for months now. Just hanging out, just waiting. But, you know, the reality is we've got 2 chest freezers, another full stand-up freezer. We've got 3 fridges, so we're kind of getting the function of the freezer right now. And we've got 2 stainless steel sinks up there for our wash station. So we have the functionality enough to kind of get by. And we feel that it's better if we just focus on doing the markets and building a customer base, because, you know, we can grow as much food as we want. If we don't have anyone to sell it to, it doesn't really matter. We're not going to make any money on it. So we're better to try to get our name out there and, you know, put all our points into meeting people and, you know, doing more markets. So all of this stuff can get figured out in the fall when nothing's growing in the ground anymore.
So in conclusion, things are going pretty good. We're pretty happy. There's obviously a whole list of things that aren't done, and most of those things, you know, like the walk-in cooler, were things we said we'd get done in the spring, but where we're at feels like way more success than we thought we'd have. We're super happy with how the markets are going, how the farm is growing, and how we're keeping on top of the property. It's still exciting to sit here and think, you know, this is first year. What's it gonna look like on year 5? It's, you know, we're still excited. Every day feels like the best day ever. You know, sitting out here picking, you know, hundreds of pounds of food in this beautiful place. It is not hard. It is nothing but pleasure.
Well, people heap admiration on you. Oh, Serina, your produce is so nice.
Well, my produce is nice.
You're doing so amazing.
We need to do
you're
okay.
working so hard.
We need to do a video for you guys showing the market display, because like I'm like, oh yeah, my produce looks like awesome. It looks great. But like when I take it from these baskets and like spread it all out and like have like mountains of it, it's crazy how good it looks. I keep posting videos on the Instagram of our market display because I'm like, oh, it looks so good. I go and I like watch them and I'm like, oh, like it looks so much better this month than it did last month. So maybe one of these days when we're organized enough to be to market early, we'll bring our camera down and we'll make a YouTube video for you guys.
You should tell everybody that since our comments are turned off, Instagram is a good way.
Yeah. And so YouTube has turned off comments on our entire channel. That's the reason why there's no comments, but we love hearing from you guys. So we have a bunch of different contact options down in the description of this video, because I'm on Instagram all the time. That's usually me, but we also have a Facebook that you can get a hold of Ian or I at, and the email is for either of us too. So if you have anything you want to share with us, feel free to use all those things, and we always love chatting with everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
What do you have to say to the people?
My mom and dad are always telling me to wear my hat, and I don't wear my hat. And they always tell me to wear underwear when I don't have any pants on.
It's time for our August farm tour,
Low energy.
but it's definitely beautiful.
You know what else is beautiful?
What? Let me guess. Potatoes. Is that where this joke is going?
That wasn't a joke. Maybe I was going to say something.
Yeah, I don't think so. Never in your life have you ever It's always a setup.
It is
Always a setup.
I didn't have a payoff set up.
It's always a
It wasn't
setup.
gonna be.
It's always a setup for a bad.
It wasn't gonna be a compliment.
It's always a setup for a bad dad joke.